Morning, y'all. Great morning, great morning, great morning, great people. How are y'all doing this morning? I hope you're having a fantastic day and start to your morning. Welcome to Bible Clarity, Bible Clarity. I hope y'all are doing well and that today and the rest of this week goes fantastic for you. We are in Genesis, y'all, the book of Genesis. We're on Genesis chapter 11. Child, if it get good in this thing, okay? I don't know about y'all, but one of the things, even before I started this walk with the Lord, you hear all these stories about all these things that happen in the Bible. And that was me. Like, I was always an avid book reader. And so I was like, child, I need to read that and find out all this stuff that happened. So for me, to me, not that the rest of the Bible, the beginning of the Bible ain't good, but it's like this is where the stories I feel like start to happen. Once we get past, of course, the creation part, it's like then the stories start happening and you start kind of seeing how things begin to progress. So all to do it, we are on Genesis chapter 11 this morning. We are talking about the Tower of Babel. The Tower of Babel. Things finna get serious. Okay, here we go. The Tower of Babel, Genesis chapter 11. At one time, all the people of the world spoke the same language and used the same words. As the people migrated to the east, they found a plain in the land of Babylonia and settled there. They began saying to each other, "Let's make bricks and harden them with fire." In this region, bricks were used instead of stone, and tar was used for mortar. Then they said, "Come, let's build a great city for ourselves with a tower that reaches into the sky. This will make us famous and keep us from being scattered all over the world." First, can we just talk about how God gave them the wisdom to begin creating and creating the things and using the things that they needed in order to be a successful people? Even though we know in just a second they went left, but um, God gives us the ability to create. Sometimes I just be sitting up and listening and looking at just different things and marveling at the things that God has given people wisdom to create, y'all. You know, I like airplanes, and so I like to watch the planes. And so I marvel at how amazing it is that message. We have planes and the things, the abilities that God has given people in order to create and move us forward. Okay, I'm back. But the Lord came down to look at the city and the tower the people were building. "Look," he said, "the people are united and they all speak the same language. After this, nothing they set out to do will be impossible for them." See, telling y'all, ain't nothing impossible with the Lord. "Come, let's go down and confuse the people with different languages. Then they won't be able to understand each other." In that way, the Lord scattered them all over the world, and they stopped building the city. That is why the city was called Babel, because that is where the Lord confused the people with different languages. In this way, he scattered them all over the world. And we just read about in Genesis chapter 10 how everyone had their own culture and language. And um, these were, look, identities by clan, language, territory, and national identity. Okay, so this is when everyone started to become a little different and kind of, I guess, started doing their own thing. The line of descent from Shem to Abram. This is the account of Shem's family. 2 years after the great flood, when Shem was 100 years old, he became the father of, Lord, here we go. I was just saying, Daddy. Arphaxad. After the birth of Arphaxad, Shem lived another 500 years and had other sons and daughters. When Arphaxad was 35 years old, he became the father of Shelah. After the birth of Shelah, Arphaxad lived another 403 years and had other sons and daughters. When Shelah was 30 years old, he became the father of Eber. After the birth of Eber, Shelah lived another 403 years and had other sons and daughters. When Eber was 34 years old, he became the father of Peleg. After the birth of Peleg, Eber lived another 430 years and had other sons and daughters. When Peleg was 30 years old, he became the father of Ro. After the birth of Rao, Peleg lived another 209 years and had other sons and daughters. When Rao was 32 years old, he became the father of Serug. After the birth of Serug, Rao lived another 207 years and had other sons and daughters. When Serug was 30 years old, he became the father of Nahor. After the birth of Nahor, Serug lived another 200 years and had other sons and daughters. When Nahor was 29 years old, he became the father of Terah. After the birth of Terah, Nahor lived another 119 years and had other sons and daughters. After Terah was 70 years old, he became the father of Abram, Nahor, and Haran, the family of Terah. This is the account of Terah's family. Terah was the father of Abram, Nahor, and Haran. And Haran was the father of Lot. But Haran died in the Ur of the Chaldeans and the land of his birth, while his father Terah was still living. Meanwhile, Abram and Nahor both married. The name of Abram's wife was Sarai, and the name of Nahor's wife was Milcah. Milcah and her sister Iscah were daughters of Nahor's brother Haran. But Sarai was unable to become pregnant and had no children. One day, Terah took his son Abram, his daughter in law Sarai, his son Abram's wife, and his grandson Lot, his son Haran's child, and moved away from Ur of the Chaldeans. He was headed for the land of Canaan, but they stopped at Haran and settled there. Terah lived for 205 years and died while still in Haran. Child, look, so what? Hold on. The name of Abram's wife was Sarai, and the name of Nahor's wife was Milcah. Milcah and her sister Iscah were daughters of Nahor's brother Haran. But Sarai was unable to become pregnant and had no children. So y'all see what's getting ready to happen. They were, what's the word y'all just said? Sojourners, right? But of course, we go through the lineage. Y'all know them parts. I know them parts. Come on, 444. Them parts of the Bibles y'all be skipping. We not gonna skip them though. We gonna read through them, just saying, because of course ancestry is important. The roots, okay, the roots of this thing. So the Tower of Babel, of course, again talking about, how at one point everyone spoke the same language, which would have made sense because remember Noah and them, okay, Noah and them and his family, when they went into the ark, they all spoke the same language. So it wasn't until God came and they were building the Tower of Babel that he confused them and gave everyone a different language. He also provided the wisdom, the insight, the knowledge for them to begin using bricks in order to start constructing things, right? Building things. Um, and then they had tar as well. So just saying, God will provide the bricks. I'm telling you, the bricks, the foundation. Okay. That's what I just got from that. Um, then they said, come, let's build a great city for ourselves with a tower that reaches into the sky. This will make us famous and keep us from being scattered all over the world. But the Lord came down to look at the city and the tower the people were building. Look, he said, the people are united and they all speak the same language. After this, nothing they set out to do will be impossible for them. Come, let's go down and confuse the people with different languages. Then they won't be able to understand each other. And so, mhm, I think that that's why, I think even God understood the importance of, well, of course, he understands the importance of everything not being the same way. That's what I'm getting from this, y'all. Like everything, we can't all be the same. We can't all do things the same way. There has to be diversity. There has to be, um, because different people, he fashioned different us to think in different ways. And so I believe that, that's why diversity is so important. Having your own opinion as well, so that we don't want robotic, right? We don't want everything to be where everyone, what's it called? Hive mind. Is that the word? That's what I heard my spirituals like, hive mind. We don't want that. And God didn't want that for us either. And so he gave us the ability to think and to be different. And to not be just like everyone else. And I think that's so important that we look at that every single day. Like, we're supposed to be different. God made us that way. He didn't make me to be like you or you to be like the next person. Everyone is supposed to be different. We have similarities, right? But he didn't want us all to be the same, speak the same, think the same, do the same things. Okay. So anyway, that's what I just got from that. Lord, I hope this helps somebody. I'll make sure y'all go back and read the Tower of Babel, see what other additional revelation you receive from it. Tomorrow, we're on one of my personal favorite chapters in the Bible. Um, Genesis chapter 12. I we'll talk more about this tomorrow, but this is one of my very favoriteest chapters because it's something that the Lord has used for me multiple times in order to give me direction and instructions. And he continues to do that as well. So y'all tap in tomorrow for Genesis chapter 12, and we'll talk more about how God has used this more than like, there's a lot of chapters and there's a lot of verses that the Lord uses to communicate with me about certain things. But when we start talking about, like we're talking about at the end of chapter 11, one day Terah took his son Abram, his daughter-in-law Sarai, his son Abram's wife, and his grandson Lot. They moved, right? They moved out of Ur of the Chaldeans, and they started towards the land of Canaan. Um, and as we start talking about traveling and relocation, and even them, they were moved around, y'all. They didn't settle. They settled, but then when God asked them to move, they moved. But we'll talk about that in Genesis chapter 12. That's it, y'all. I love y'all in real life. Y'all hydrate your soul and things, drink your water, say your gratitude. Go read Genesis chapter 11 and see what revelation God gives you.